Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello and welcome to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we've got a very special guest. Her name is Cherie Calbom, and Cherie wrote a book called The Truth About Seed Oils. And, this really goes along with our conversation about nutrition and processed foods and all of that. And I'm really interested in hearing all about seed oils. So, Cherie, without further ado, welcome to the show. So great to have you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Joe, for the invitation. I'm really excited to talk about this very hot topic right now. Lots of people have lots of questions about seed oils.
Yeah, it's interesting. Over the last, it's probably been about 10 years now that I've been really focusing on nutrition. I lost like 50 pounds about 10 years ago. Oh, well, 8 years ago, I guess. And the nutrition was a big part of it. But then going through cancer, I focused on a whole nother level of nutrition. But seed oils came up as a red flag back 10 years ago when I was researching it, but nobody was really talking about it.
Yes.
Canola oils and everything, and vegetable oil and Crisco. I mean, I'm a child of the 70s, so I remember, my mom slathering Crisco oil on everything, and all the things that we've done. There's a whole history to these seed oils and where they came from, what they used to be and what they are now. Before we get into that, I'm just curious, like, what caused you to be so motivated about this to write a book about it?
Well, I've been looking at oils for a long time.
Okay.
I started in the early 2000s investigating coconut oil when you could hardly find jars of
Right.
coconut oil in the US.
Mhm.
But I met an importer who was just touting the wonderful health benefits of it. And something just kind of rang in my soul, though, that there could be some truth here because he was bringing up this is traditional oil. It's been used for centuries, Southeast Asian plantations, farms, they've grown it.
Yeah.
So I started looking into it. And Dr. Mary Enig wrote, she was a professor, wrote a book, Fats and Oils, very scientific. It all made sense. I
Uh-huh.
found some research papers that made sense. And I thought, okay, we've been sold a bill of goods on coconut oil.
Right.
And I wrote the coconut diet. And lo and behold, Vogue magazine picked up not a cover story, a feature story on my book and several other big publications. And it just set it out there to be a bestseller. And then I didn't leave that journey. I wanted to know more. And when this whole controversy, I'll call it, of seed oils came up big
Right.
time in the last couple of years, big on
Yeah.
social media, I wanted to really do a dive into it. And I was on for a while a seed oils committee, a national committee, and
Oh,
then that
really?
kind of dissolved. But that caused me to realize there aren't practical guides. I mean, there needs to be something with smoke point and charts and what's healthy and what isn't, and the history and all of the science linking seed oils to different illnesses. And
Mhm.
so, and then shopping guide. I'm a nutritionist. I'm very practical. I want shopping guides and meal plans and recipes. So we've got it all in the truth about seed oils. But I've been studying this for a long time. But I started off even before the early 2000s with George Foreman. I was the co-spokesperson for
Oh,
the
no
George
kidding.
Foreman girls. Yes. So we were
Wow.
talking about knocking out the fat then. And so I've been looking at fat for a long time.
Okay. All right. And so your background in nutrition, how does that tie into all this?
I have a Master of Science degree in nutrition from
Okay.
Bastyr University. It's naturopathic university. So I am very oriented at looking at food as medicine.
Hmm.
And you were very spot on to look at food as medicine for
Oh, yeah.
yourself. Yes, spot on. And I truly believe that if we get out the toxic products, refined foods and industrial foods, and we bring in the whole foods and the clean nutrition, we
Hmm.
set ourselves up for healing and health.
Yeah, absolutely. My orchard and vegetable garden gets bigger every year. I go out and pick more foods and buy less things from the store. I don't buy anything from fast food. I haven't for years and years anymore. It doesn't even seem appealing anymore.
Yeah.
It used to be like you'd crave it. I haven't craved fast food in years. It doesn't even like you look at it and you see somebody eating it, and you're like, that doesn't look that good anymore. So hopefully there's some sort of a mental shift once you start eating good things. I know started craving vegetables a lot more after I
Mm.
primarily eat them as you know, my primary nutrition is, plant-based. So tell me about, I know there's a sordid history to the introduction of seed oils into our diet. Back, I, I guess it was in the 50s or so when this all kind of started.
Even before then.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it really picked up momentum in the 50s, the early 50s.
Yeah,
But the seed oil processing, industrial seed oil processing started at the turn of the century before last. So late 1800s, when cotton was a big crop and seeds were mounding up and rotting, and what do we do with them kind of era.
yeah.
And they started making oil with them, but it was dark and smelly and used to lubricate machinery.
Right.
Yeah, and
And it
that's where
worked great for that. Yeah.
it should have stayed there, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. You can
But
still use it. Put it on your chainsaw, it's all good.
exactly. And during World War II, it was used on the planes and the ships. Should
Right.
have stayed there.
You're right. I
But
agreed.
they still had more seeds. And
Yeah.
so the idea was let's refine them even more and make a cooking oil for quote unquote the modern cook. Who doesn't
Ah,
want to be the modern cook? And then
right.
they had cute little jingles calling it vegetable oil. There's no
Yeah.
vegetables in there.
No.
So, and that we kind of limped along with that market though through the 20s and 30s. But then came World War II
Right.
when the ships couldn't make it through the waters carrying coconut oil. And
Yeah.
so the seed oil industry saw a perfect opportunity to pick up production and advertising and roll this out even bigger. For the modern cook, it's very shelf stable. You don't have to refrigerate it and create cookbooks, hire
Because it's
people to
not food.
yeah, it's not food, but who cares, right?
Right,
And
right.
Crisco came out with, of course, the it's crystallized cottonseed oil. Is what
Yeah, short name.
Crisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it stands for. And they were saying, well, we're Procter and Gamble, and you don't have to know what's in there.
Right.
Just
We
trust the
got you
label.
covered. Yeah.
We got you covered.
Better
Trust the
living through
label.
chemistry, didn't they used to say?
What was that?
Better living through chemistry, wasn't
Oh my
it at
goodness,
one
I don't
point?
remember that, but that makes sense because
Yeah.
they were saying we're the experts, you don't need to worry about it. But
Right.
they had a hard sell in the beginning because the American people knew what this oil was. They knew
Yeah.
it was machine lubrication oil and it was a hard sell. But
Yeah.
they kept at it, and after the war, a perfect opportunity for them popped up because heart disease, heart attacks popped up much higher than they'd ever been. In fact, from 1930s to 1950s, heart disease increased by 130 some percent.
Wow.
That says a lot. Well, what came on the scene big time early 40s was
Right.
the seed oils for the American cook.
Hmm.
And so then we are paying the price for it. But when they did the autopsies, at the time when everybody's scared because lots of people are getting heart attacks,
Right.
they found plaque in the arteries, of course, and inside the plaque, they found fat and cholesterol, of course, because it's in scabs and it's in plaque. Well,
Right.
not enough people were asking, why is the plaque collecting there? There were wounds underneath the plaque, irritation of the arteries. What was causing that? Seed oil, sugar, and smoking also, all big
Right.
time in the
Yeah,
early
smoking was
50s.
huge at the time as well, and drinking,
Oh,
smoking,
do you
and all that.
remember? Did you see the ads? More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette, and it calms your nerves and helps your digestion. Yikes.
Even
I-
in the 70s, my dad was a doctor, and he smoked a pipe in the house with all those kids, and it was all just no big deal.
Yeah, everybody bought into it. It was all
Yeah.
fine. Well, it wasn't fine. Heart
Oh,
disease was on the rise, but they blamed the saturated fats. So butter, cheese, eggs, red
right.
meat, beef tallow, lard, all out the window few common sense voices on the side said, wait a minute, we've been eating these foods for centuries and nobody was
Exactly.
dropping
Thousands
over.
of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that because for whatever reason, the consumer seems to fall prey to an implication of causality that happens to just be a correlation. So, for
Right.
example, like what you pointed out, okay, well, we did an autopsy, guy had a heart attack, we see plaque and cholesterol. So, therefore, foods that have cholesterol in them must be bad. And people are like, okay, but
Yeah.
the truth
Yeah.
is that has nothing necessarily to do with it. And at the time, they didn't know there was good and bad cholesterol. They didn't know
No.
even what cholesterol did for that matter.
Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters, and for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
No, and they didn't even know that our bodies make cholesterol no matter what you do. It is going to keep making it. And your
Right.
brain is 60% fat, and the largest percent of cholesterol is in your brain. It's like,
Right.
duh.
A ton of
But
it. Yeah.
you were spot on when you were talking about dietary cholesterol and being a myth or one of these crazy hypotheses. In
Right.
2015, they rolled out huge population studies that had gone on for several decades on dietary cholesterol. And
Yeah.
the findings were that there's no connection
Right.
between dietary cholesterol and blood cholesterol. And so
Exactly.
at that point, they did away with the you must eat below 300 milligrams of cholesterol, and you
Right.
don't have to throw your egg yolks away anymore that are high in cholesterol. 2026, this year, they proved two studies, Loma Linda University and Seventh day Adventist study, proved that people who eat the most eggs, like one a day for 5 days, at least a week, had
Right.
the least Alzheimer's, 27% reduction in Alzheimer's by eating eggs with the yolk. Those that ate no eggs at all that had Alzheimer's, 32% of them ate no eggs at all. It's like,
100%.
but you know what? That was never reported on the evening news. Nobody knows about those 2015 studies. Nobody hears that they did away with the 300 milligram and below cholesterol
I
on
know.
dietary cholesterol. It's like, what? And then all the studies that say there's no correlation between blood cholesterol and cardiovascular because they've looked at populations again, and as
Right.
many people die with low cholesterol as with high of
Well,
cardiovascular disease.
and you brought up a really interesting point because that study about eggs done in Loma Linda happens to be one of the blue zones. And the Seventh day Adventists is a group of people that are a, a blue zone group. And so
Yeah.
this religious group that has these particular dietary practices are some of the longest lived people on the planet. I don't know. Maybe it would be interesting to think about what they have to say. And yet nobody got it, right? I mean, it just went right over everybody.
Went right over their heads. We're reporting on it, you and
Yeah,
I, and
exactly.
a few lone voices out there are
Yeah,
reporting on it, but that's about it.
right.
That should be shouted from the housetops on the evening news. Are you
I'm
kidding? Is
sorry.
that ever going to happen? Maybe not in our lifetime. Maybe it will. I don't know.
I don't know. That's why we keep going, though. You
Yes.
never, I believe, in the quantum things where everything's connected. And I believe that, when you make a shift and you put your mind to something, you make a difference. And maybe we'll reach 10 people, 1,000 people, who knows? But I think we're making a difference and getting the word out. So, this notion that all of a sudden, all the things that, like you said, it was this great opportunity for big industry to sell off a bunch of stuff because as soon as they said, fats and butter and dairy and all this stuff was bad for you, they came up with low fat everything and margarine and not butter and all of these substitutes. And the truth is, margarine was invented back in France during the famine because there was no butter and they had to come up with something to feed the people and they whipped up this stuff that kept people alive, but it wasn't good for them.
Yeah.
And but now all of a sudden, but it's cheap and easy to make, and it's literally taking leftover sludge from a process that is using waste material, turning it into gold for these people. And we were buying it like crazy. I mean, I can remember again in the 70s, early 80s, everything was, low fat, no fat. Everything was all about, keep that fat out of your system. You're gonna be nice and lean and healthy.
Didn't go so well, did it?
No,
Because that's when obesity took off like a rocket. People were
exactly.
substituting sugar for fat because you've got to have something for flavor.
Right,
And
exactly.
fat adds satiety, that feeling of fullness, like I've had enough to eat. And
Yeah,
so now people were never feeling full. They
right.
weren't feeling satisfied. And so they were always hungry and they were eating sweets. So they were eating more sugar than they'd ever eaten.
Oh
And
yeah.
America blew up, I call
Sugar
it.
and bread, yeah. All the
Mhm.
carbs and all the sugar together, just a lethal combination. Your body takes and stores it away and turns that into fat. Well, there's nothing about sugar that says fat. Oh, yeah, your body takes care of that for you now, doesn't it?
Does. Oh, yes. And it loves to store that right in fat
Oh,
cells
yeah,
and make more
exactly.
fat cells for storage units. And so people got fatter and fatter, and now obesity and overweight is 70% of our nation, where we keep going. We don't seem to be going back the other way. We're going off the cliff almost. And did heart disease, did all these vegetable oils, there's no vegetables in them, they're all seed oils, but
Right.
did they cure anything? No. Heart disease is still the number one killer. But I better mention what are the seed oils because people
Yeah,
are
yeah, let's
probably
talk about
wondering,
that.
what
Right.
are those?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So soy, corn, canola, which is rapeseed, grape seed oil, safflower, sunflower, peanut, rice bran, and cottonseed oil. Those are your seed oils. And why are they bad? It's how they're processed and the fact that we're getting too many of them. So it's two pronged, creating inflammation. The processing is really horrible. They start with these fragile little seeds in big vats and heat them to very high temperatures, like 500 degrees. They're very fragile. They have polyunsaturated fatty acids in them that break down easily and turn to toxic byproducts that damage our cells. But then they pour in hexane, a very toxic chemical, to extract the last bit of oil. And then deodorizers, neutralizers, bleach agents, all those chemicals. And then they say, don't worry about them. They just evaporate. Do I believe that for one heartbeat of a minute? No, uh, I don't believe that. And so and then they roll it out into plastic bottles,
Right.
microplastics, and sell it to the American cook as heart healthy. Does
Yeah,
that make any sense if we really think about it?
not really.
When the animal fats all along were fine until we introduced these industrial seed oils.
And olive oil. People have been eating olive oil for thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of years. It's just a
Oh,
beautiful oil that expresses easily from the fruit of a tree.
right. And it's cold pressed.
Yeah,
And first press is the best, the extra
yeah,
virgin, and then avocado oil and,
yes.
and coconut oil. Those are your three really good oils.
Agreed.
Also, ghee. Some people
Yeah.
call it oil of butter. That's another
Even
good one.
really good quality grass-fed butter is not bad for you. I mean, the fat part
No.
of ghee just has the fat cleared out of it. But if it's good quality animals making the butter, you're going to have good quality butter. But if it's commercial, they give those animals hormones and vaccines and antibiotics and every kind of preservative, and it's just not good. And so, yeah, butter's kind of an iffy one, but I definitely I'm a big fan of butter if it's good quality butter.
Oh, I am too. And you just nailed it. Grass-fed, organic. And I am so encouraged because there are more new brands coming out
Mhm.
all the time
Yes.
with that configuration, that advertisement on the label. I was at our Sprouts Farmers Market. I live in Scottsdale, and I just thought, I'm going to look on the shelf and see if there's any regular butter here because I saw so many
Yeah,
options
yeah.
for the pastured. There
Right.
wasn't one. I mean, they don't care. Well, I guess they know their clientele is all probably
Right.
health
Yeah,
minded,
that's a
but they
demographic
didn't
that's
have
looking for that.
any.
I
They
go to
didn't have any.
Costco and I see two different grass-fed butters now and one or two just normal butters. So I mean, I think it's starting to become marketable, and that's the key. Like if the consumer wants that quality of food, they'll make it.
They
They'll make
will.
whatever we want, but if we don't ask for it, they're not going to make it. So this is again another reason for us talking about this. People that and just try it. The taste of good quality butter against crap butter, it's night and day. It's like eggs.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
we raise
Pastured
chicken
eggs.
and I take my chicken eggs and then you go to a restaurant, you get eggs and you're just like, what the heck is
Yeah.
this? You know? It's
Yeah.
totally different. Yeah.
Totally. Well, eh, speaking of butter and all of that, we also, I just wanted to throw in two nut oils, almond oil and macadamia nut oil.
Yeah.
So people ask me about that a lot. But in our book, we've got smoke point. That's another important thing to consider. How
Yeah.
high a heat can you use on these different fats and oils?
Yeah.
And beef tallow and avocado oil have a very high smoke point. The others, like olive oil and coconut oil, should be used at medium to low temperatures.
Right.
And so we have the smoke point chart in case you're wanting to know how to incorporate these fats and oils. And then we have a whole section on flavors and which
Yes.
oils to choose for which kind of baking or cooking that you're doing, sauteing, making eggs, whatever you're doing. So
Hmm.
that is going to be very helpful for you as well. And then we have a lot of recipes, over 50 of them, of how to incorporate different fats and oils into different recipes and how to make your own food. And that's something that maybe is novel for a lot of people. They're
I
used to
love
just
that.
tearing open packages.
I
And
love
speaking
that.
of that, make your own popcorn. Don't get any more of this microwave stuff in a
Right.
bag
Oh,
with all
that's
the
the worst.
chemicals.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst. What I love to do, I've got an air popper and they're cheap. Just get
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
cheap air popper. I melt half butter, of course, grass fed, and half coconut oil and drizzle
Okay.
that over with some sea salt. Oh my, is that
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
It is delicious.
Yeah. And you don't even need an air pop. Air poppers are great because they don't burn the kernels, but you
Yeah.
could just use a saucepan. You
Yeah.
know, just keep shaking it so it doesn't burn them up too much. But yeah, same deal. You're spot on. And there's nothing wrong with popcorn if you get good kernels and just do it yourself. It's all the yeah, I don't know what they do to make it microwave, but it's not good for you. It's definitely not
No.
good.
It's loaded with chemicals. It comes out bright yellow, so they've got some kind of dye in there. They've
Right.
got bad seed oils. I
Yeah.
know that's in there,
Oh
and
yeah.
probably some other chemicals for flavor or preservatives. I don't know what, but I remember the last time I ate some theater popcorn. It was a long
Oh, I
time
know. Isn't that
ago.
terrible? I know.
Oh, I was so sick the next morning. I had a food hangover. My head hurt. I was fogged in. I felt like I'd been out drinking all night and I just eaten some theater popcorn. So never again. We smuggle in our own.
I remember as a kid, we used to go to the drive-in, and my mom would pop up a big old, grocery bag full of popcorn, and all of us kids would hop in the back there, and we'd eat fresh made popcorn. But nowadays, like you say, and they'll sell you a giant tub of popcorn, and you look at it and they say it's got like, I don't know, 1,300 calories or something like that. Like, where the hell do those calories come from? Oh yeah, it's in the gunk they put on it.
Yes.
It's just, popcorn itself is very light, doesn't have much to it. But so I love that you took a book that talked about a problem, came back with solutions, and then presented, a cookbook that people can try it out for themselves. We didn't really talk much about tallow, but I'm really kind of tickled that tallow's made a comeback. When we were kids, again, even lard. I mean, it's not bad if you're not eating a ton of it.
Right.
It's just, animal fat. And
Mhm.
tallow is basically just rendered lard. And they're using it in all kinds of cosmetics and all kinds of things, but just cooking with it is like I don't know. I can remember, cooking things in bacon grease even, I mean, it's just, yeah, you cook the bacon, you got grease left over, cook your eggs, your
Yeah.
pancakes, whatever, just cook it all in there. Everything was fine.
Yes, that
Before,
was our family.
yeah,
My grandmother always saved her bacon grease. And my dad, he was the cook. He
yeah,
always saved it as well. Yes, and
yeah,
there was no heart disease in our family ever
right.
at all. In fact, not much problem
Well,
with health.
you mentioned something, and I think it's important that people realize that, I've done a lot of different diet plans. I went into a keto world for a while, and then I realized the cancer didn't like that. And so now I'm really mostly plant-based, but to get full is a trick when you're eating a lot of plants.
Yeah.
And the key is you get yourself some olive oil or some avocado oil or an avocado or some macadamia nuts, and you add it to the things you're eating. And the next thing you know, you feel full. And
Yes.
it's those fats that when they hit your stomach, they trigger hormones that say, oh, we got a lot to work on here. So we're good. We don't need anything more for a while. And
Yes.
it's a big deal actually, because when you try to lose weight or you try to diet and you're hungry all the time, it's problematic.
Very.
It's just not a good way to live.
Well, one of the slimming oils, I should mention this, is coconut
Yeah.
oil because it's rich in medium chain triglycerides,
Yes.
MCTs, a lot of people know them as. And
Yes.
the liver likes to burn those.
Yes.
So it is known as a slimming oil. And when my book, The
Yes.
Coconut Diet, came out, lots of people were losing weight by adding in coconut oil.
Yes.
And so I highly recommend that if somebody's wanting to lose a few pounds. And 30% of your diet should be fats and oils.
Absolutely. I agree. And I guess the key is if you're not eating a whole bunch of breads and carbs with it, then you're good. If you
Right.
do, then you start to get a problem of taking on too many calories and your body starts socking them away. But if you're eating fats and oils as kind of your primary fuel,
Hmm.
and you're getting all your vegetables and fruits, will also give you fuel, but get all your fiber and your vitamins and minerals and all that for it. Next thing you know, you're healthy.
I know. And you feel good and you've
Yeah.
got energy and no more brain fog. So I should talk for a moment about omega-3 fatty acids
Yes.
because the seed oils cause a great imbalance between omega-3s and omega-6s. This is the other side of the argument of the seed oil argument that's going on right now. And
Okay.
the other side is saying, oh, but you need the seed oils because we need linoleic acid and it's an essential fatty acid. It's an omega-6. It's very important for our health. All of that is true. But we are getting way too much and we're getting toxic forms of it. So,
Right.
two reasons that we don't want seed oils. But because it's cheap, manufacturers love it. They can pour it in everything that they're
Right.
making, all the commercial products. So, anything in a bag, a sack, packaged up baked goods. You go to a restaurant, they're using it because, again, it's shelf stable and it's cheap. You go to
Mhm.
a fast food restaurant, they're frying everything in it. They're
Right.
painting it on everything, brushing it on to make it look juicy and,
Right.
scrumptious. Well, we're getting, for many people, seed oils, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
Even from the plant-based milks like oat milk or almond milk, a lot
Right.
of those brands have seed oils in them. So
Right.
what is that doing? It's creating a big imbalance of too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3s. We
Hmm.
should be at a balance of about 4 to 1, 4 omega-6 to 1 omega-3. Most people are like 15, 20. I even heard of some people coming in with scores of 30 to
Wow.
1. That is very inflammatory. It creates a lot of inflammation in the body. Inflammation is connected to every disease there is.
Every problem. Yeah, we talk about
Right.
that a lot here. And
So
and
we,
it's interesting because you're bringing up a point that I talk about and some of our guests do, that just because something's good for you doesn't mean you should take a huge amount of it.
right.
And and so, they're doing the same thing with protein. They say, oh, well, you got to have protein, so much protein. And every time you turn around, it's protein, protein, protein. Well, it turns out you don't need nearly as much protein as we're getting. Even as you get older, you need to maintain a certain amount, but people eat 10, 15, 20 times the amount of protein they need to, and they're not lifting heavy weights. You know, if
Yeah.
you're a bodybuilder and you're lifting giant weights all day long, yeah, of course you eat a bunch of protein because you're tearing your muscles apart. Most of us are not doing that, and we don't need that kind. So when you look and you see all the health products, when you go to the market, you go and you know, even the health food store, you see just row after row after row of these, you know, the latest thing. And the truth is, even if it's good for you, usually a pretty small amount is going to take care of it. And most of the time, you can get what you need in your diet. You don't need to take a
Yes.
supplement.
No, and you certainly don't need seed oils for linoleic
Oh,
acid. Eat your seeds and nuts, eat them whole.
yes,
You'll be getting plenty of linoleic acid, but
yes,
up your omega 3s. And
yes.
this is where people kind of fall down on the job because they don't think about omega 3s. Besides, we hear about the fatty cold water fish all the time. Most people
Right,
know, oh,
right.
yeah, salmon or trout or sardines, that's a good one. But not everybody wants to eat that. Well, where else can you get your omega 3s? Walnuts are a great
Yes,
source. Put some on your
absolutely.
salad or on
Yes.
your top of your smoothie. Walnut oil is very good, but it always should be cold. You can't ever heat it. So you can drizzle it on your salad. You can
Okay.
put some
I
in your
was not aware
smoothie.
of that. Interesting.
Yeah. So don't heat your walnut oil, but it's going to give you a lot of omega 3s. You can
Nice.
make walnut milk. It's so delicious.
Oh,
I've
really?
made my own nut milks and I've used walnut a lot because it's a
Nice.
great source of omega 3s. You can also do black seed oil. Well, that's not an omega 3, but it's great for the brain and it's
Yeah,
great
yeah.
for
I
the
use
lungs.
flaxseed oil in some of my formulations for lotions and creams and stuff. It's wonderful stuff.
Oh, yes, it's wonderful. Well, I've got a whole list in the Truth About Seed Oils of the different oils that you want for different things
I love
that
it.
are going to improve your brain function, your skin, your hair, your heart health. On it goes. These oils are just essential for good health from head to toe.
I love it. So your book, it sounds like it's taken off, doing pretty well.
Yeah, doing pretty well. And I'm out there just talking about it every business day of the week. I don't do shows on the weekend, but
All
I've been
right.
trying to wake up America to the truth
I
that
love
we can change our health and vote with your wallet. You know, if you don't choose these products that have seed oils in them, get chips that are cooked with olive oil or avocado oil.
it.
And
Yes.
if you're going to buy bagged popcorn, get it with olive oil or avocado oil. How about salad dressings? If you're not making your own, get it made with avocado oil. And sauces, check the label. Don't get it with seed oil. Anything packaged or boxed, like if you're getting a dinner pre-made, make sure it doesn't have like vegetable oil. It would say that's a seed oil or any of the seed oils I've named, like corn or soy.
I love it. Well, Sherry, if you had just one thought to leave our listeners with, I know you just dumped a huge bucket of them, but if there was just one thing that you could say, sum up your whole way of thinking about these seed oils, what do you think that would look like?
So I say it oftentimes, you'll never know how good you can feel until you actually give this a try, change
Nice.
your diet, change things up. And that's not something that a lot of Americans think about because most doctors tell their patients, conventional doctors, that your diet had nothing to do with the
Right.
condition you have, how you feel, or prevention even. They just say diet isn't involved. But that is the farthest thing from the truth. Think about your car. Would you say that fuel has nothing to do with how your car runs? Absolutely not. Would you put in the wrong fuel in your car, like diesel in a regular
Not
tank?
gonna work.
No way.
Yeah.
But our bodies are more important than our cars, and the fuel is extremely important. So I do encourage you to give this a try. And I want to tell you a story quickly.
All right,
We had
please.
a lady that came to our retreat. My husband and I do health and wellness retreats, and this was early on, about 15 years ago. She had cardiovascular disease and she came hoping for some help. We had a 5-day retreat. We did 2 days of that retreat, vegetable juice fasting. The rest was all plant-based and raw. And of course, no seed oils in anything. And at the end of the week, she felt pretty good. She got
Nice.
back in to see her cardiologist and he said, "Wow, what have you been doing? You're my model patient." And I just heard from her recently. She's now 83, no
Wow.
heart disease, and she's still following the program.
I love it. I
She's so
love
cute.
it. I love it. That's so fantastic. You know, it's wild. And again, we're getting a little away from time, but it's all right. people have a problem and then they solve it. And whether it's obesity, diabetes, cancer, whatever it is that's your issue, you get it under control. And then people go right back to the thing that they were doing before. And the truth is, you can't. You have to change your life forever and walk the walk, and you'll go on and be healthy for a good long time. I plan to live to be 120. I just hit 60 and I'm like, all right, I'm halfway there. And I can't think of a good reason why not. I just exactly. Well, Cherie, how do people find your book or find you for your retreats or any other thing that you'd like to?
So come to my website, juiceladyinfo.com. That's my main site. You can also go to the landing page, thetruthaboutseedoils.com. So it's there. You can order it. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere. But I really want you to get a copy of this book and start putting into practice recipes and charts and shopping guides and all of those good things to make a big change in your life. Because here's something that many of the like naturopathic doctors and holistic doctors have said. They've had patients doing everything they told them, the supplements, the diet, the exercise, and they still weren't getting where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then they went after seed oils.
Yeah.
Boom. That was the culprit, got them out, and then they really took off. So you've got to give it a try and incorporate this into your lifestyle. Come follow me on Instagram at Juice Lady Cherie, Cherie. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, all the same handle.
I love it. I love it. Well, Cherie, this has been a treat, and I agree with your whole way of thinking, and I'm walking the walk myself.
I can tell. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. Well, thank you for joining us today. And I would like to have you come back in the future sometime and talk a little bit about your retreats and some of the other stuff that you're doing. I have a garden out here in Southern California called Gardens of Hope, and we do retreats, and we call it therapeutic horticulture. So people come out here and we do all kinds of things, but it's all about being out in nature and wellness. So
I love that.
yeah, excellent. Well, I look forward to talking to you again. And this has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and I want to thank all of our listeners for making this show possible. And we will see you next time. This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.